Hey, YouTube family, it's your girl Steffi. I am here on day 43 of my 90-day YouTube challenge to have a monetized channel by January of 2025. And today we are going to discuss the reinvention of self. I'm going to get into what it really takes to shift gears, begin to pursue an entirely different path than perhaps the one you've been on. So stick around. I am here on November 22nd. It is Friday. And again, we are on day 43 of the 90-day Gen X challenge. My particular goal is to have a monetized YouTube channel by January of next year, but maybe you're working on your own goal. I am here to help people understand how to pursue a goal, how to commit to a discipline more realistically so that the goals that you have are actually achievable. Because one of the things that I teach clients, one of the things that I talk to people about all the time is the fact that if you're not where you want to be, then the only thing standing in the way is you. There's a version of you that gets in the way, and that tends to be a version of you that does not like or does not understand how to use discipline to your benefit. And I know that discipline can be a dirty word, and a lot of us don't like the word. However, we can learn to fall in love with discipline by flying towards the life we desire and deserve using something I call the transformation framework. It's 4 steps over 4 weeks to get you out of your own way and moving towards your goals. So I am using that program here in this challenge for myself. And my goal is very specific, which is one of the tenets of the transformation framework. But I really wanted to touch today on what compels somebody at any age, to be frank. You don't have to be a Gen Xer to get use out of this video. But for those of us who are Gen X, we've kind of probably already had a career. Many of us have already reared children and had a family. And it's almost like we have all this free time. Like we're old enough to be wise, and yet we still have so much life left in us, and we have so much to offer. So how do you take this life in which you've become accustomed, the life that you're used to, the skill set that you've developed and built maybe over decades, and set that aside and become something else? It takes a lot of chutzpah. It takes a lot of cojones, but it's the most exciting thing in the world when you approach it from a perspective of you get to do this. I don't have to do what I'm doing. I have been engaged in work that feeds my soul, that I absolutely love. I don't have to step away from it. I am choosing to reinvent myself. I'm choosing to become something different because ultimately, and I've shared this in other videos, I want to be free. I want to be free in the universe. Even if I never go anywhere, I don't want to have to be in one place in order to sustain myself. I want to earn my keep, but also be able to be anywhere in the world that I so deem at any given moment. I want to be in different area codes on different continents if I choose to, earning money. So I am taking what I've used, what I've learned, what I've done, and I am using the word I used at the beginning of the video, reinventing myself. Am I going to lean on things that I carry with me, skill sets, wisdom, knowledge? Absolutely. You don't leave that stuff behind just because you decide to go a different direction. But it's about creating a scaffolding around the things that you have, that you are used to, that are ingrained in you, and building something brand new around them so that you can go into the world doing something different, leaning on all that you know, and yet presenting an entirely different face to the world, and maybe being of service or providing a service that's completely different than what you've done. For those of you who don't know, I started out in 30 years in Western medicine. I have 25 years in the ER behind me, and I reinvented myself when I walked away from my medical career, and I opened a homeopathic natural products brick and mortar shop. I became a soap maker. I created over 100 products by hand that I sold in my little shop, that I sold online, that I had international wholesale accounts with. And I became that thing for about 5 years. And then when I was ready to reinvent myself again, I moved into something way more intimate, way more personal, but still very much holistic health and wellness. And I began practicing as a psychedelic ceremony facilitator. I took people on journeys outside of the rational thinking mind into those places and spaces that we only have access to through ancient traditions and certain compounds in nature. If you pick up what I'm putting down, maybe you know where I'm going. But that all happened for me after an ayahuasca journey in 2016. I was told, you've been being prepared to be of service in this way. You are going to take care of hearts and minds and souls, not bodies and limbs and diseases. So I have done this reinvention thing multiple times, and every single time it's terrifying, it's beautiful, it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's riveting. You never know what's around the next corner. But I can tell you that I've never been dropped off a cliff. I can tell you that everything I have taken from what I had been doing and rearranged it, remolded it, and moved it into a different direction, it always served me. It always wound up being of profound use in whatever my quote unquote new endeavor was. And in a funny way now, for 40 years of my life, I've been taking care of people. It's just in which way am I taking care of people? So there's no need while reinventing oneself to shut the door on what came before. In fact, that would be foolish in my humble estimation. There's always something we can glean from the life we've lived that is useful to, even if we decide to completely change course and go in an entirely different direction. You're going to take what you know, what you do well, what you have wisdom, not just knowledge about. So this is a beautiful opportunity for a lot of people. Maybe you realize that the road you've been on is no longer for you. Maybe that decision was made. Maybe you've recently lost a job. I don't know what your particular circumstance is. But if you have a calling, if you have a pull, if you feel compelled in your heart and your soul to move yourself in a different direction, to maybe become a different, higher, better version of you, I'm here to say, it doesn't matter how old you are, but particularly for those of us in our early to mid to late 50s, we Gen Xers, we have so much left to go. 50 is the new 30. I feel like I'm aging in reverse. I feel like every year I get better by increasing my whole food intake, by increasing my movement practices, not even necessarily exercise. I'm not a big exerciser. But I can tell you that as I've aged, I've actually gotten more fit. And I'm about as fit now this year, at the end of 2024, I'm about as fit as I was back at 38. 39, 40 years old. So yeah, it's entirely possible. There's no such thing as the whole wide world. I share this with clients and friends alike. There's no such thing as the whole wide world. There is the 6-inch space between your ears where the whole wide world happens. Nothing goes on out there that doesn't first get processed through the prism of these 6 inches. So I tend this 6-inch space with love and with ferocity. And because I do that, I change my world. And my world is the one I live in. So when I tell you that it is entirely possible, there is no cutoff. If you have a dream in your heart, if you have air in your lungs, you can go make your dream happen. I do have a group on Podia. It's called In the Loop. It is specifically for inspiration and information that can get you flying towards the life you desire and deserve. And I encourage you to join that group. It is free. It is just a love fest of people on a similar journey who know that they want something different. They just need a little bit of support to get themselves there. Drop down in the description, join the group. You can download various materials that are free to you in order to encourage you and help you pursue whatever your dream and desire is. But Do not, especially you Gen Xers, do not let what you've always done keep you from what you know you could do. You have a whole life ahead of you. Like, we're going to live until we're 100. That's what they say. If you take good enough care of your body, our generation is going to live into into their 90s, into their early hundreds. I have a brother in his 40s, early 40s. His generation is going to live to 130, 140, 150 perhaps. This is what science is, postulating. So you got time. You got time, and you're going to need money. Like, living to 100 is great, but you have to be able to afford to do that. So you still have time. You still have the energy. We can get up off the couch. We can put down the remote, pick up a barbell, go for a walk, pursue a new dream. I'm telling you, it's all there for you. If you even remotely think that you want to do something different, if your life has caused you to need to make a change, or you've just decided you want to change, it's time. Do it today. Get in the loop. Drop down in the description. Visit my little group on Podia, and we are going to get places together. I'm telling you, I'm going to get where I'm going. I am absolutely going to get where I'm going. What are you doing today? What's in your wallet? So anyway, I'm just pushing the button that needs to be pushed. I want to give you that nudge. I have changed myself so many times. I've shared in other videos. I've died 1,000 deaths to older versions of me that were no longer of service. You can do it. Don't wait for permission. Everybody out here is waiting for permission and an example. Well, I'm your permission and I'm your example. And as soon as you start doing what you know you want to do, you will be somebody else's permission and you will be somebody else's example. So let's get at it. All right. As always, you are so seen. You are so loved. Oh,